Well, good evening in many parts of the country. Still not quite here in the Pacific Northwest. Welcome. My guest tonight is Inquisitive Tarot-Sheilah, and I'm so happy to have you, Sheila.
Oh, thank you. I'm really, really pleased to be here.
I'm
So,
glad you are.
yeah.
I've been wanting you to be on for a while, but we have to
Oh,
when we go on when we're ready to do what we want to do, and it's always perfect timing. So
right.
it's really good. And then so I've watched some of your readings with others in other shows. And hi Kaya, thank you for coming. By the way, I see you there.
Okay.
Um, and I watched your show. Was it last week? When you said all these really cool things about what was happening in your world.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
thought we got a lot to talk about. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah. So I'd like to know what um, did you know, or were you interested in these kinds of topics at a certain age, or is this something that's
No,
new for you?
it kind of happened. And okay. What's a long story? Well, I'll start with
Okay.
the very first encounter I think I had. It started because of ghosts. Okay.
Ooh. Okay.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
Um, I know we were in between houses. Our new house was being built in a new town, and we had to stay in in a house on the outskirts of town. And it was an
Hmm.
older home, and it had this big garden in the back. And I remember, I think I was 5, and I remember
Oh.
being out there, and I swear I saw a white lady come out of the garden shed or whatever that was, and
Uh
start
huh.
coming up, and then she just disappeared. And
Oh.
then my older sister, later on, we were upstairs in the room we were sleeping in. And, I remember coming out of that older bathroom and coming in there. And my sister blurts out, "This house is haunted." And I was like, "No, it's not." She's like, "Yes, it is." And
Ah,
she's 2 years older than I am. But I was
okay.
like, I brushed it off and just went on about my business. But,
Hmm.
I'm going to say my sister's name. I almost did. My sister, um, yeah, so I don't know. I feel like she's sort of plugged into some of this, but I'm not sure. But anyway,
Well, I was going to say she must have seen something or felt something herself
I
in
think
when you
so.
say it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh-huh.
And then what happened next was my mother had a Ouija board, and I think I was about, I don't know, I was in my early teens maybe. And I remember
Hmm.
picking it up myself in the basement and asking it a question, like on a name. And I was like, okay, I don't, and I put it down and I was like, forget about this. I'm not touching it again. And I just didn't. And I don't know. I was like, I didn't really believe. I was like, I
Uh-huh.
felt like I did it. But anyway,
Right.
so fast forward, um, I went to college and, well, not even before that. I've had a lot of multiple experiences on the way.
Uh-huh.
What really kickstarted it was I moved into a high rise, condominium building. I had I rented an efficiency. It was a large efficiency. It's about 628 square feet. I had a kitchen, walk-in kitchen. You came in through the door, and there was the big room, and the kitchen's over here, and then through the door was just to get the layout. And this is important. It's part of the story. But
Okay.
this place was haunted. I mean, I'm telling you, it was maybe within a week that after I moved in, stuff started happening. And the girl that was there before me could not wait to move. So as soon as I was ready to rent, she was done. And I didn't,
Oh.
it was kind of odd. But
Mhm.
then I got in there and weird stuff started happening. And I had, this long 25-foot phone cords because it was 1990, you
Mhm.
know, and the thing would start bouncing. I'd be
Oh.
across the room and I'd just watch it. And I'm like, that's
Uh-huh.
interesting. What is that? I'd have the TV on and the white mist would just go back and forth like this. And it was constant. It was like, like it's pacing. And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what is this? Um, and then I had another one that would stand next to it. And it was like, it looked like static. And you could see the outside of it.
Hmm.
And that was weird. When I
Yeah.
yelled at, yeah, I mean, I yelled at it and told it that it was my apartment. It wasn't allowed to be there. And then the next day I couldn't get the door to unlock.
Oh,
I'd
jeez.
be like, I have the key. And I'm like, okay, and I just
Yeah.
have to wait. I have to wait a few
Uh-huh.
minutes. I'm trying to move this camera.
Uh-huh.
And
Oh, that's
Wait till
fascinating.
it let me in, and it happened a few times, so I had to stop yelling at it because it wasn't getting me anywhere. And
Right.
so it was kind of like a lot of stuff. Like things would,
Uh-huh.
my Christmas tree bulbs would bounce off the tree, and I'd be on the phone with people. Actually, it happened twice. I was on the phone with different years, and I'm like, that was the funniest thing I ever saw. I'm like, how did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
came in one night from the grocery store, and it was dark, and I had grocery bags, and I came in through the hallway and around. My TV was between the hallway and the kitchen. I put the bag down and look up, and there is a disembodied face looking at me, like,
Oh, wow.
and I was like, okay, time to turn on the light, and I
Yeah.
did. I mean,
Okay.
so this wasn't something I wanted. It's just always been something that's
But you
happened, or
weren't afraid of it. You sound like you were very
oh, I was in
okay.
denial. I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
because I didn't believe in ghosts, and
Oh, all right.
I was raised Catholic, and we didn't have ghosts. But I mean, I've seen things my whole life. Like when I was a little kid growing up, I used to have these little feathers. I'd be sitting, and this little tiny feather would just kind of come down and then disappear, and I'd be like, "Where's that feather?" And I could never find it. And the last
Uh-huh.
time I saw one was in my office when I was going through this story that I'm telling you now. And
Mm-hmm.
so I've kind of put it together, and I'm like, oh, maybe it was an angel. Maybe it was a sign from my angel.
Could be.
These little feathers. Just do, 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 do.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So, yeah. And I still see things from time to time. I see orbs with my eyes. I don't need a camera. They're
Mm-hmm.
like, sometimes they're hanging out right next to me when I'm doing readings. And I'm just like, go away.
That's really awesome. That's awesome. I love
Well,
that.
now I'm
Okay.
getting used to it. But
Now, yeah.
so I haven't really, and I hear stuff, and since 1999, things picked up, and I hear
Mm-hmm.
people, I hear whispers, I hear talking. I am clairaudient, and I always thought I was losing my mind.
Sure. A lot of people do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So it's
they
been
do.
kind of, it wasn't something that I was looking for. But after
Yeah.
the apartment thing with all the ghosts, because I had three ghosts, the story, um, you can find my story also on Lavender Moon's
Okay.
channel because I she
Okay.
interviewed me. I
Mm-hmm.
can tell. I'll try to find some things I can tell you that I didn't tell her. But so after that, I was told I should read the Seth books and to understand, and so
That's
I
right.
did.
Right.
And so I have that up there in my head now, and
Yeah.
then all the other connections and all that stuff really probably picked up. I don't know. I've seen so much stuff that I don't even know anymore. It's just gotten crazy. It wasn't until Lavender Moon's channel when I went in there, and she was just like, "You are a medium. You are a high-powered medium. You need to talk to some other mediums." And I was
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Oh, Renee wants to know, do they crowd in your bath? They come in my bathroom now at 3 o'clock in the morning and they talk. And it's kind of disconcerting because, Renee said, are they crowded in there? It's kind of a
no,
small bathroom.
no. I have stuff happening to me like when I'm out, like in here, like something's always touching my arm. Yesterday, or it was the night before, what was it, Monday night or something? And I was
Mhm.
sitting in here and I'm on the computer, and this big puff of air hits me in the face, directly in the face. They're always messing with me. And then two
Uh-huh.
seconds later, my hair was up and it poofed
Hmm.
me in my ear, like right after that. And I'm like, okay, that's it. I was up out of my seat. And I'm like, no, please
Oh,
stop. It's
right,
like,
right. Just
so,
trying to get your attention. Yeah.
I mean, they have it, but I'm like, you're not talking to me right now and you can't
I'm
prank
busy.
me.
That's right.
So it's like,
Oh,
yeah, it's been
wow.
crazy.
When I was growing up, my father he had an uncle that was a doctor. And when his uncle died, they gave my father a lot of his medical stuff. My dad was an X-ray technician. He wasn't a doctor, but he was interested in it. And one of the things he got was a human skull
Oh
that
no.
had been gotten from doctor's training in a New York hospital way back in the early 20th century. So there was a skull about this big, no body, just the skull, and my father had it on his desk.
Oh, no, no.
And I used to call it Herman. And I mean, I grew up with Herman because anybody that came used to get freaked out that the skull was there, you know. And so we moved into a new place when I was in high school, and we had Herman there. And the room that Herman was in was already a haunted room. And my mother felt this ghost all the time. And she finally got so fed up with it. She's like, you need to leave. And they're like, well, what about Herman? I don't know. Maybe it was Herman. Maybe he wanted his head back. I don't know. I think it was the person that gave their life, their body to science, because what else would it be? It wouldn't be, it wouldn't have been, you wouldn't have somebody's head if it wasn't at a doctor's college. But that was a long time ago. I'm sure now people would look at that with a lot of skepticism, like, where's that from? And who does that belong to? And yeah. But I remember that. And then my mother had premonitions all the time. My brother was in Vietnam, and 2 times. Once he went through the window of a fire truck, and the second time he was rescuing somebody, and a whole building collapsed on top of
Oh,
him.
no.
And both times she sat bolt up in bed screaming. And so I know I have always had intuition, but I haven't had it as vividly as a lot of other people. And I don't know if I was blocking it out of fear. I think a lot of us don't know if we want to go down that road or not. I mean, do you like hearing about other people when you're walking through a store or something? Does it bother you that
Well,
you know?
I'm not really to that point where it's more like stuff is sort of happening to me. I did have a time where between like 20, this is blinding me, 20, it was 2015, 2016, where the whispers was actually kind of like I could hear the words, and I was trying to figure out if it was a guide or what. And
Right.
I asked questions, and I actually had people come through. I had
Really?
my grandparents came
Uh-huh.
through, and I know it was my grandma, my dad's mom, because she had a froggy voice, and she even said one with a froggy voice, and I was like, grandmother.
Oh,
And
oh,
my
oh.
other grandparents, and my grandmommy had a message from my mother that it took me 6 months to pass it on, so I gave her that. I had a friend who lost, and it was like all at once. I had
Hmm.
my maternal grandparents, my friend's daughter, and another woman who I think I know who she was, come through all at once, and whispers was on this side, and it was like, so I talked to my grandparents, talked to the daughter, because she had passed away. She was too young to go, with her heart, and she had a message for her parents, and I passed that one on. And then I
Wow.
was talking about somebody I liked, and I was like, oh, he's because he was beautiful. But if
Hmm.
he ever sees this, he'll laugh. But he and I heard her say, and he's beautiful on the inside too. And I was like, oh my God,
Yeah,
was
be
that his
careful what you
mother?
think.
Was that his mother? I was
Oh,
like,
that's
oh my.
funny.
So, oh
Yeah.
God, I was like, all right. So, of course, I didn't pass that one along, because I'm not even really sure I'm supposed to know anything about that. But anyway, and then I had another friend who was dating somebody, and his wife had passed, and I was thinking to myself, boy, I wonder if she would like this woman that he's dating. And it was just a thought going on in my head. And then one
Hmm.
day I'm down in the living room, and I'm sitting there, just doing puzzles or whatever I'm doing, and I hear from the other side of the room, that question you had about your friend? And I was like, yeah, the answer is no. And I was like, whoa. I'm like, can I tell him? No.
Ooh.
And I was like, all righty then. I was like, won't. And now he was engaged. It's funny because I found out that he was engaged to her, and they're no
Oh,
longer engaged. And it took a while, but I was like, well, I didn't have anything to do with that. So,
right,
but
right.
yeah, so
Wow.
I have done it,
Hmm.
but it's like I have to get back to it, because I again shut it off, because I was like, this is crazy. This is nuts. I can't be doing this. Um,
Well, how did the people react? Because if you if they hadn't previously done something like that, they wouldn't have expected you to do it, I
well,
suppose.
My mom knows that I lived in a haunted place, although
Oh, okay.
she believed it, and then she stopped believing it, and so she's in and out. But then I did
Hmm.
kind of get it out that grandma, she's here with you all the time. She loves you very much, and you can. And then she was like, "What does Granddaddy say?" And I was like, "Nothing." He was yelling at me about the guy I liked, going, "You know, I can better. You know him better than we do." So I was like,
Oh my
"Okay."
goodness. Wow. And you
So
know they're going to be looking out for you because they're in that all-knowing state. So
yeah.
they're going to tell you exactly what they know. Wow, that's
Yeah.
really
Well,
interesting.
since I've started talking to the medium, and we've met a few times on Zoom and whenever, and the last time we met, she told me about my guides, and it's funny because I pictured something very much like this, so I
Uh-huh.
wonder if I kind of already knew, but it was. I mean, we got the description down. It was
Hmm.
what I was thinking, and she's like, "Yeah, it's the hair color was right, everything." So I'm like, "All right, I kind of knew about him, I think." Um,
Uh-huh.
and then my dad and
Wow.
my grandparents. And the day my father passed away, I was just going to bed. I just barely, just turned off the lamp, and not 2 seconds later, I didn't put my head down. I heard, "Don't forget." He'd been in this house maybe 3 times. We lived in different states,
Hmm.
and so I knew that was my dad. And
Wow.
yeah, I heard him loud and clear. "Don't
Uh-huh.
forget." And I was like, "I won't, Dad." Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. And then
Yeah.
somebody pulled the back of my nightgown like that. I was like, "Cut it out." I was like, "No, no, Dad, dude, you're already crossing the line."
Really?
So if he was, I never
That's
know.
good. Well,
Yeah.
I was when my dad died, I came back from quite an extensive time in my hometown, and I, flew home, and I got back to my house, and I walked into the bedroom, and I could smell my dad's pipe tobacco, which was a cherry blend, and it smelled. It was very and my ex-husband never smoked. No one else in the house ever smoked. My dad didn't even smoke before he died, but I associated my dad with that particular brand of tobacco, and the whole room just, and it was such a nice affirmation for me. So, you
You
know,
might have, yeah, you might have actually that had a visitation. So yes.
probably, yeah, because I told him he better come visit me, just before he died. I
Yeah.
told my brother the same thing, and my brother did all kinds of crazy stuff to get my attention, because I wasn't paying attention, and
Yes.
so I know he does that. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So yeah, I've
So,
had them. Yep. Go ahead.
no, that's okay. I just wondered what led you to the tools that you use, like you're using the cards, and
Okay.
so what kind of
Well, after I moved out of that apartment, well, I had gone to. I was so stupid. At that time, I was terrified and all this stuff, and I had gone to someone who read my cards and tried to tell me. They literally did try to tell me that I had a curse.
oh
And made me
God.
more afraid. And so I was like, you know what? I'm taking control back here. So
Good.
I bought myself a deck of cards. I did bring this one out. This is the
Mm.
first one I had, but this is not the exact card deck because I threw it away because I was
Uh,
like, it scared me. And I was like, I probably shouldn't be
a
doing
lot of
this.
people go through that.
Yeah.
You're not alone. Yep.
Yeah.
And,
And then
okay, which one was it? Which one is it? I just couldn't see what is it.
it's the
Is it?
mystical tarot.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's very freaky. This one is still strange to me. I just don't,
Okay.
but I don't really use it.
But you're
But I
drawn to it
wanted
for some reason. Yeah.
Well, I went to get it again after I started doing cards again. I bought myself an RWS, and I was like, well, maybe I should have started with this. I got
Mhm.
Tarot for Dummies, and it comes with a little book. And well, I mean, I didn't know. It took me a long
Yeah.
time, and
No, I've been there, so I
yeah,
understand. Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I bought that deck in 2010, I think it was. So
Mhm.
I was just kind of like, I need to do something because there's stuff was happening since 1999 that clairaudience began, and
Mhm.
it's just been like, ugh. It just, I don't know what happened. I went through another spiritual upheaval, I guess it was. I thought I was getting a psychic attack or something, but all this stuff started happening. I was hearing all these loud bangs and claps, and people. I mean, I would turn the music up as loud as I could, and I could still hear it. And I'm thinking, I'm losing my mind. And I was like, I can't do this. I just got this new position where I work, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm developing web pages, and I'm something I really want to do, and this is happening. And
Right.
I kept it very secret, and that's one reason my family doesn't really know I'm doing all this right now, but
Uh-huh.
they don't really know about all this. Um, but I was just it's just so anyway. I decided that I needed to learn how to use the cards. I needed to around 2010. I got them. I looked at them a little bit, and then around 2016, I should turn the phone off. Um, um, I really started pulling them out. I pulled them out. I was reading about things going on in my life, and I was kind of getting it and kind of not. And then, then I had all the stuff going on with the people talking to me, and so it all just sort of started coming together. And I was getting really good at the cards. I thought I was like, wow. I mean, sometimes, not all the time. I'm not even really good now, but I mean, I was like,
I
I
think we
was
second guess
better.
ourselves. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
We do that.
I had,
Hmm.
I had a better understanding. I need to grab this phone.
Okay.
I need
No
to shut
problem.
it. No, I just
Yeah.
need to shut off the sounds. We don't hear that anymore. Okay. Because I don't I hate when it does that whenever I get email. But yeah, I turned it off. But
Okay.
so yeah, so I started to do that, and then I started looking at YouTube, and people had all these different cards, and I was like, "Oh, that's really great," which got me going further. And then I figured if I put my energy into something else, maybe some of this will stop. But that didn't happen.
It did
Uh,
happen.
didn't happen. It's not
Uh,
going to. And I needed to figure out what was going on. I've been around a lot of different readers, different kinds, and so I started watching the political stuff because I couldn't stand what's his face, and
right.
what's his face.
You aren't
So
alone. Yeah.
yeah, and so yeah, so I did that, and I loved to see their readings, and then there's some other sites I found, you know, metaphysical sort of stuff, but
Yeah.
I kind of stayed away from the mediums because I was still like, I'm not gonna do this. But
Well,
yet
you
I
had a bad experience with it. I think,
yeah,
like even Renee just said here that she got scared of things because her ex wanted to use the power for lesser intentions.
oh
But
yeah,
there are some people that try to use the power and they don't know what they're doing and they're calling in some creepy energies. And I remember once going to a table tipping. I don't know if you ever heard of that, where you could
yeah.
the table could lift
I
up.
I wouldn't do
Yeah. Well,
that.
I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and what happened was, it was okay. The lady that I was with, I trusted. She wasn't doing anything nefarious, really, but the other people apparently got really freaked out, and they went home and they pulled out their Bibles and started reading their Bibles, and because they just felt like lower energies had come in,
Yeah,
and I try not to. I mean, I know there are such things, but I try to not I don't think about them. I don't like to think about them. I did hear something today that really resonated with me. And it was that, oh, it was Amanda Ellis. I don't know if you know who she is, but she's
mm,
works with Metatron, and she's Australia. No, she's British. And she said, we bring to us what we think. Of course, I knew that already, but the way she was saying it was also that we have to keep those energies uplifted and not bring in that bad stuff and focus on all the bad stuff. Not that I don't think it exists, because I've seen it in
oh, it does.
people. But I think I think that's what happened to me too when I first started. I didn't hear a lot, but I experienced some creepy things, I guess is the best way to say it. I shut myself right back down, and I
Right.
couldn't get out of that. So I think we all have some
Yeah.
experience with that. Yeah.
I definitely, that's what I do is shut down, because it's kind of like, all right, you're scaring me now. It's like I had to make whispers be quiet, because I'm like, okay, you're just anymore,
Right.
and you say a couple words, and I'm always hearing, I'm going to be able to. I'm like, be able to what? So I'm like, if you're not going to finish the sentence, we're not going to have this conversation.
Good
So
for
I'm
you.
like,
Good for
I
you.
just get sick of it. I'm like, I'm tired of hearing that.
Hmm.
So, I needed to get it resolved. And then as I watched others who were on YouTube and other mediums and listening to some real discussions, like I know when I go on Lavender Moon's channel, she has some mediums in there and they're
Oh,
talking.
uh-huh.
And so I was like, okay, well, I need to pay attention. I need to find out
Hmm.
what's what. And then one
Right.
day she asked me to come on and I let it all, you know,
Good.
and
Yeah.
then so I'm like, I guess I need to face this now. But I feel so like it's like an out of body experience doing this or admitting this. It doesn't feel like it should be real.
Well,
And it's
I
just
understand that. And the
weird.
other thing I will say is, I always heard this saying that you can't be a prophet in your own hometown or something like that. And in other words, if we told our friends we were doing something like that, they'd go, "Oh, pfft, right, you know how to
Yeah.
do that," because they know us or they think they know us. So, it's nice to get out there and see other people in other places and
Right.
know that it's not so unusual. Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. Because it's just been really bizarre. I mean, I've always felt like I just don't and I'm really sensitive when I'm out and about and at work. And I feel
Uh-huh.
like people pick up, they know what I'm thinking, or they know they. I hear stuff, and I'm like, I'm connecting. I feel like I'm projecting out so much. I need to
Hmm.
control this. I'm trying to get it under. It's like
Yeah.
I'm also sending out information, and it's like I got to get that under control.
A
Also,
little bit of
so
yeah, a little bit of a cushion around you. One of the things she said today was that people don't understand sensitive people. Sensitive people can't help that they're sensitive,
right,
and we think of it only as a word like, oh, you're too sensitive if I say something negative or whatever. But no, we live in sensitivity, and
yes,
so we can feel and understand what people, and there are other people. So I understand what you're saying. You kind of worry, oh, do they know what I'm thinking? Because really, isn't that what the ultimate
uh oh, oh no,
anymore? Yeah, it's just talking, through your brain.
yeah.
So,
We
yeah.
were losing you there for a minute, though. I think you
Oh,
froze.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I
I was
live out in
worried.
the boonies, and sometimes I go in and out. Ask Renee, she knows. Sorry about that.
Okay. Well, it's not your fault.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I do. So I'm working on that now. She's got me grounding and
Good.
beginning to do. I've done this before too with the protection
Mhm.
and imagine myself in the bright egg and all that business and
Right,
like
right.
center myself and back when I was reading the Seth books for the first time, I had to
Hmm.
do something like that. Um, and yeah, so I'm back to that again. I don't think I've
Right.
done enough grounding. And like,
Hmm.
I mean, I knew yesterday I was a giggle puss all day long when I was in people's, you know,
That's
on
good.
my channel. No, because I knew I wasn't grounded, and I'm now
Oh,
noticing
okay.
it.
Okay.
God, I was
But you
all
were but you were enjoying yourself. You were airy fairy, but that's where all the information also is. So it's
right.
okay to be that and still have other times to be grounded, because you have to be
Well,
grounded at work and.
no. Well, she's my medium friend who's helping me now. She's telling me I need to be grounded all of the
All the
time.
time? Okay.
As
Well,
she says that you get grounded and you're there, you can go as high as you want and you can get back down. And I was like,
okay.
wow, that's really great. So
Yeah,
yeah, so
good.
she's been really helpful and she lives
Oh,
in
that's good.
England. But
Oh, good.
yeah,
Good.
she's lovely. So
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna hopefully have everyone meet her sometime soon. So I'm gonna bring her on
Have
my
her on your
channel.
show? Oh,
Yeah,
good. I'm glad
we're
to hear.
gonna do medium stuff. So
Uh-huh.
she's helping me. So I'm gonna probably have something where we're gonna do one of my sessions. Although I'm gonna try to keep some things out of there because some stuff is is private too, and I don't want to
Yeah,
have
you
it
could probably
out.
do it on a Zoom call and then you can cut and paste
Yeah,
what you want out of it. Yeah. That's awesome.
that's a
I would love
possibility.
to see that. done in real time. I know that my brother and I went. It wasn't medium, but when he was alive, he and I went to Edgar Cayce Foundation in Virginia Beach, and we had we wanted to know reincarnated lives we had together, and we both were able to go into the trance together, and we both saw the same things, and it was
Wow.
wonderful. It really
Oh my
was.
God.
I've had some fabulous experiences, but it's been since like 1970, over this long period, and then quiet, and then back again, and then quiet. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay, but at times you have to get yourself all back
Yeah.
and moved up again. So wow, do you use any shungite or obsidian or anything to ground yourself? Do the stones
Um, no, it's a
resonate?
visualization pretty
Okay,
much. And I
okay,
like it. It's a really good one. And it's just kind of like
good.
you get down to the core of the
Hmm.
earth and
Yeah,
that iron core and get the wrap around it. And it works. I can
good.
really literally see it. And I did that one day before I went on to read. I think it um, was it last Sunday or whatever. And I did it, and I felt like I was actually giving better readings because I felt like I'd gotten that some
Yeah.
of that work done, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, I felt
So you
better.
didn't need to use the cards as much as your intuition came through, and the cards just were that reaffirmation. Is that
Well,
kind of
no,
what?
I mean, I was reading the cards, but I was able to see the messages faster. I felt like I
Yeah.
was getting into it a little more. Like I could see where it was going, and
Uh-huh.
I do look deeper into the cards too. It's not just the meanings, but sometimes I need it to as a jumping off point with
Right.
something, and then sometimes I'll see the card completely differently. It
Yes.
depends what I'm reading on, and
Yeah.
because they're not all readings are the same, and I kind of get mad at myself when there are times when I do pull up a similar reading and I'm like, well, I just had this card and why is it here? And I've got to you have to read it a little differently based on
Yeah.
it. It's just
What
kind of
it's
frustrating.
talking about. Sure.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
want different cards. So it's like I
Well,
pull from different decks and I end up getting
yeah.
the same cards. It's just like,
Yeah, I'm not as much a tarot person as I am an oracle person, but I also like the Kipper cards. Have you used the
oh yeah.
Kippers at all? Have you
Yeah, I
used
do
them?
have a deck. It's not
Do
out
you?
here. Yeah,
Okay.
it's on my shelf over
I
there.
have the
But
Ciro Mansetti. Is it Mansetti? Ciro Mansetti. And I also like the
yeah,
Lenormand cards. I like those. And there's a different way of reading them, but I
right.
am not reading for anybody. I'm reading for myself most of the time. But those Kipper cards has really
Yeah.
right through here. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're,
yeah,
yeah,
and they're a little bit different than the
they are.
Lenormand, but I did a reading for myself because I was having some work issues with
Uh-huh.
some crazy. Oh, never mind. Don't let me go there. Right. Anyway. So I did a reading. And it has like this pyramid, like double pyramid or triple pyramid reading that's in the book, and I
Uh-huh.
did it, and it was absolutely true, and I did get out of
Wow.
there, and I'm on a
Good.
detail that's hopefully going to be permanent. I won't have to
Hmm.
go back and deal with that person anymore.
That's
So
good. Boy, we've had,
thinking that,
I think everybody's had one or two of those in their life that,
yeah,
oh, yeah, just
yeah, it's
unbelievable.
all
Yeah.
bad, not good.
Have you
So anyway,
tried any scrying with a crystal ball at all?
um, I don't do that at this point. I do have a crystal ball because I was like setting up this table. I was like, oh, it'd be kind of fun to
It's
have.
kind of fun.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, it's not
yeah,
really. It's just more decoration.
I
I don't
understand.
do
No, I
anything with it.
understand. I
It's
have one
covered.
that's crystal, but I have a black one too, an obsidian ball. I haven't tried that one, but it takes a longer period of time. You have to unfocus your eyes, and it's like
Yeah.
looking at auras. You have to have that sort of double vision in order to see it. But it's kind of
Yeah,
fun.
I don't.
Yeah.
I have stuff anyway. When I go to bed at night, I can see like I always feel like I can see something whooshing past my eyes, and it's dark, and I'm like, "What is happening?" And I always have to go stop, and then I can see. I get faces. I get people um, talking sometimes, and I'm like, "Okay, why? Who are you, and what do you want?" Um, so it's just like I don't know. I think I was out one evening and there was a woman who sat next to me and she seemed irritated. I was like, I don't know. So I thought about this that night and I was like, I'm like lying in the bed going, I was just irritated. I was like, why was this woman like, what was her problem? And it was
Oh,
like, what was it?
she got a
No,
juju on you.
and then I hear I'm Courtney, and I'm like, there it is. I'm connecting. See, I connect to people too.
Oh,
So
okay.
living in the, so I'm
Mhm.
like a
A channel.
clairaudience.
Yeah.
Yeah, clairaudience can do both the living and the dead. So,
Hmm.
so I was like,
Hmm.
all right. So that's, I was like, well, sorry, Courtney. Like, okay. So
That's
it's
funny.
just happened. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's cool. Renee
It,
says she wants to try doing the Lenormand cards,
mm-hmm.
and and then she says I really want to try it all. That's how I feel, Renee. That's why I do what I do. I try not to use the books now because Andrea on Lilac Lantern never uses books. She just intuitively reads, and I
Yeah.
don't feel that confident yet. And
Well,
yeah, it just
then
depends.
I would say just go ahead and learn the cards. It helps you, and then once you're more confident, then you can use it as a, you can jump off and do other things. But
Right,
to learn, I think it doesn't hurt to do that.
right,
Like, because it's different than tarot. So I mean, there's some cards in tarot that are completely different, and you can go away from, like, let me see if I can find something. Then the RWS kind of de- description. Like, let me see if I can find one. Like,
sure,
here's like this is the, which one, the new Palladini deck, and
okay.
so this is Judgment. It's the last Judgment on here, and
Oh,
you can kind of look at things.
hmm.
It can be different. Like, I don't know. Trying to see if I can
It
find.
looked like it was is it an angel with an X on it?
Yeah, it's an angel.
Oh,
Well, it's more like a cross, I think. But I
oh,
mean,
okay. Yeah,
you can look at them differently. Like, here's the Three of Swords in this one. So
yeah.
you have different look to some of the stuff, and so you can get different the colors and things. Can you can look at it a little bit
Can speak to
differently.
you that way. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
think
but
I like the other ones because, hi everybody. I
yeah,
like
but
the Lenormands because they have like a
mhm,
bear and they have
yeah,
a,
the
and
strength
I know what a lot of symbolism
story.
is. I just have
Right.
to learn how to read it right. Right.
Right. Yeah. And like, when you get the scythe and it's like a cutting off
Cutting through.
when you get your anchor, when you get those different things. And they're to be read, Lenormand is literally. So it's like when
Yeah.
you're, so, and that's what is different with tarot. In tarot, you can
Right.
kind of take it and, you know,
You can move, you can be more
meander
intuitive.
around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but
Yeah. Well, and
I
the other
think,
thing is it depends on the placement too. Like if you have one here, you're supposed to
right.
read that with the one next to it. And if you
And the
have
one below it.
the grand tableau, you have the one below it. I also got
Right.
some cards, actually, they're called the Psy cards, PSY cards. They're a lot
Mm-mm.
like the Norman cards, and you lay them all out. And it was a guy in England that did it. And I'm starting to work with them, but you have to lay it all out to find out what's next to you. So there's like
Right.
48 cards they have to, and I don't like working with that many cards.
Well, yeah, you don't have to. There's, I
Yeah.
mean, the book that I have, I wish I had it up here, but it's on the floor right there. I got the Easy Lenormand to learn
Uh-huh. Yep.
Lenormand, or
I
I
did
think it was,
too. With the
and
words on it and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah, it's a good way to start. Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, mine doesn't have all the words on it.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay.
Mine are different. Wait
Oh.
a second. Do you want me to grab them? They're different. I
Mm-hmm.
think because my deck doesn't match what should have been in there, so I don't know what that was.
Oh,
Yeah, hold on a
really?
second. Let me.
That's funny.
All right, let me stop my cam because I always I'll be right back. I
Okay.
gotta get up. I'm
That's
tired of
fine.
moving the camera. Like, I'm right here though, but I'll just look
Okay.
like I'm gone for a second.
All right.
Literally a second.
I'll show everybody my green tarot while you're doing that. I got this in the mail today. One of my guides is Green Tara, who is the goddess of compassion and wisdom. And she's the female bodhisattva, which is the female Buddha, one of them, because there's a lot more. Isn't
Oh
she
wow.
pretty? I love my green. There's a white tarot too. I don't have the white tarot. I have the green tarot.
I have a big one over here. I forgot about this one. Ah, I forgot about this guy. I also have this
Oh,
one.
Okay.
This is huge, though.
I
And I
have
don't
that
like
one too. Yeah, I have that one. I like that one. Isn't that
right. So,
Ciro Mancetti? Isn't that who that
uh,
is?
no, this one's Renata Lech.
Themela?
Lech.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
There's
but
so
this was
many of them out there. Yeah.
the easy. But my
Uh-huh.
cards look like this, and they
Uh-huh.
don't have the words on them. They're just.
Hmm.
Oops.
Okay.
Here's the mountain. So there's no words on them. It doesn't have
Right.
the little whatever
Hmm.
stuff. And I also have another one. I'm not going to go get it. But yeah, that's the Pixies
Oh, the
one.
pixie one. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that one too.
And then
Yep.
here's the
That's the one, the
yeah,
kippers. I have the same kippers. I love them.
yeah.
Although I don't always love the message. But I'll get
Yeah.
used to it.
These,
Yeah,
I like these. I do. So they
I
were
do
out here
too.
for a while. And I put
Uh-huh.
them back. But
I've really overdone it because when I see a new kind of either tarot, Lenormand, or oracle card, I have to have it. Now I have about
yeah.
85 card decks, I think, but I'm not even a reader. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Oh,
yeah.
here it's in this book. Here's where there's that
Oh, the
that lay.
layout, the pyramid
Yep.
layout. Okay.
Yep. This is the
Oh,
one I used, the spread for that reading I did, and it was right on. So
uh-huh. Uh-huh.
yeah.
Excellent.
So
Yeah.
these
Renee mentions she wants to draw her own cards, and
ooh.
I don't know if anybody listens to Marianne down in Australia, Revealing Light Tarot.
Oh
She
yeah.
is doing her own cards right now. She's painting them, I believe. So
She is.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, her readings are I love her
Oh yeah,
readings. Oh my God.
she was amazing.
So
Yeah, she was. I get a little bit of everything from everyone, and I know when I have a specific thing I want to kind of know more about, I check out the different, and the messages a lot of the times
yeah.
are very spot on and the same.
Yeah.
Uh, but I wish we could do more. I know people were why we got into talking about the political thing and wanting to know what was going to happen and all that stuff. But I think there's so much more. Like even the Seth books, which
Mhm.
I'm hoping people will be interested in reading. But the one I'm reading now on mass events, you read that one,
I
and
think
my
I have
friend
that
Peggy,
one.
she was
It's under
talking. My
this
friend
table.
was talking about it. I'll get you to
Yeah.
bring everything to you.
I have
Um,
it.
do you? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's right under.
Oh,
I
all
mean,
right.
I have a whole pile of the Seth books
Uh-huh.
underneath there, but I didn't get to read that one yet. I was kind of
That one
mad. I
is,
was like, I probably don't want to
yeah.
read this one. I'm going to be scared.
Well, it's so interesting because it was written at the time of um, the Jim Jones People's Temple crap and the
Oh, I
cult and all
remember
that.
that.
And there's a lot of stuff in there that, oh my God, it's like he
Yeah.
just channeled it today. And I think that's true
Wow.
anyway of prophecy, don't you? They're like
Maybe I
the
do need to read.
Nostradamus ones are like that,
Yeah.
that you make sense of it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
I'm probably
Marge,
going to pull that
you're
out.
also drawing your own life cards. Good for you.
I've
Wow,
got a
I think
blank
it's a
set.
great job. Yeah, yeah, that's awesome.
I've got a
And
blank set, but I keep hoping Andrea is going to put hers up for sale. I want to
I
buy
have
them.
5 of those blank decks, and I've made some, and some say yes, no, this, that, and but hers are always so spot on, aren't they? When she
Yes.
when she reads them, I know it is really
Yes.
fun. Yeah. Ruby, I do too. I do learn something from all the readers, and everybody has a different technique, and
Yeah.
everybody has, um, and you know what I really love about it too is that there is no wrong way to read any cards,
Right.
or because everybody has their own interpretation, and so
Right.
that's another reason why I remember Andrea telling me she never looked at the books because
Yeah.
she just made and I think that I got too nervous. It was like, oh, I don't want to read for anybody. What if I'm wrong and they hate me?
Yeah.
That was what I was feeling. Yeah,
That is where I was for a long time, and I finally
of
was just like,
course.
let me just do it. I'm just if I'm
I'm
never gonna
glad.
know unless I do it.
Yeah.
But I definitely agree with you on the reading of cards is that it is different and it is personal, and people see it
Mhm.
differently. And I know I used to go in when I first started hanging out on YouTube in the tarot chats, and there were a couple readers, and I was, they didn't really want you doing this, but I was like, oh, okay, well, I got this and I got that. I mean, that was what I got. I wasn't trying to say what they got. But then there were
Right,
other
right.
times where they'd pull a card, although I have different meanings for things or things that I've learned.
Mhm.
And I would I'd be like, oh, it's this. And they're like, no, it's not. And I'm like, you know what? I should not do this. That's
Yeah.
their reading. I'm like, why am I doing that? It
I don't
sounds
think
like
you were malicious, though. You were just
I'm,
doing it because you were trying
well,
to
I
be
think I was
part of
trying to
it.
learn, but I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? I get it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, and I actually hate it when people do it to me. And I'm like,
I
let me
know.
get, I need to do this. But
Yeah.
it's like, it takes a while for it to click. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I should
And the
not be.
confidence.
And
I had the same thing.
that's their reading. Yeah.
I was in a coffee shop once in Nevada City, California, with a friend of mine, and there was a woman in the corner reading tarot cards. And so I
Mhm.
went over and I gave her $5 or something. I don't remember what
Oh,
it was. And she started reading for me, and I said, "Oh, no, this means this." I was reading for her. I ended up
yeah.
reading for her, and I'm not even a reader. And she loved it for some
Oh
reason.
my gosh.
And I apologized at the end, but you know, she was just
She's,
trying to get her legs. You know, she was
yeah.
just trying to do her job. But you know,
Well,
it is
maybe
something.
she learned something from you. I mean, in
Maybe
that situation, she still got $5,
she
and
did.
she
Yeah,
got, maybe you pick up something. And when I'm reading
yeah.
with other people too, I watch too what they're doing, and I want to learn from them. And I
Hmm.
have learned from several of them, and the way that they're reading. And I'm like, I don't know everything. I know that, and
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't even think I'm a good reader. And it's
Hmm.
funny because people are like, "You are," and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
believe that for
Yeah.
a long time. So
No,
I appreciate it, but
I
it's just
understand.
there's so
Yeah.
many really good readers out there, and I'm just blown away by a lot of them. And so
Yeah.
I just hope I'm going to learn, like,
Oh, you will,
from
and
them. 'Cause they're
get that confidence level. T Barb says she reads for people. They always say you're spot on. T Barb, you should go on Sheila's show
yeah,
and do something like that. That would be fabulous. That's how a lot of people
it,
just play and have fun. And
yeah,
I bet I would watch it. I think it would be wonderful. So if
that would be kind of
anybody,
fun to
I'm
do.
already advocating for
You're
you to
giving me
have your
show
show on
ideas. I'll
TV. Yeah,
pull
yeah.
somebody in from
Yeah,
from
from the chat.
yeah.
I know. There's nothing wrong with that. So
Well, plan it. I mean, pick somebody ahead of time so they have they can get their
she says
themselves.
never.
It's nerve wracking to get
It
up and do
is
it if you've never
scary.
done. I was terrified when Debbie Freebird Spirit had us on for the open mic. I was literally like absolutely
Oh,
terrified.
sure, sure.
I was just, oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah.
So, but I still really appreciate having that opportunity. So,
I know.
had
You'll
that
get more
opportunity
comfortable
when
with
it
it
happened.
too. You will.
Yeah.
I had to, I just today found out it's been a 10-month process, but I just found out today that I got a promotion at
Okay.
work. And oh, the paperwork that I had to do and the meetings and all this other stuff. My biggest problem was I don't like to talk about myself as being this great teacher or great this or great. I'm not comfortable with it. I don't like it. And everything that I passed in for them to look at, they kept saying, we're missing something here. We're missing something. We don't know what it is. And so tell us what you really feel. So I did. Thanks, everybody. I said, I'm not comfortable. I'm a Buddhist, and Buddhists aren't supposed to be braggarts, and we're just humble people, and I don't like, and that's why I never got a full-time position, because I don't like to brag about myself. I really don't. It makes me,
Yeah.
I'll talk about things that I've done or whatever, but I'm not like, well, I'm great. You need to give me a
Yeah.
promotion. And that's what they wanted to hear. They wanted to
Yeah.
hear because that was what I was holding back. And
Well,
they wanted to hear that. And that
right.
gave me confidence. Not that I was going to change and be a different bragging person or whatever, but that's made all the difference. And it gave me a lot more confidence as well that, we're all just walking
Right.
each other home here. We're not,
Right.
we're all pretty humble
Yes. Well,
people.
congratulations too, by the way.
Oh,
So,
thanks.
but
Thanks. Yeah.
no, and I have a similar problem at work because we're supposed to hand in accomplishments, at the end of the year, and I'm not keeping track of every little thing I'm doing. And I just feel like, it's hard to sit there and think, well, what did I do? What was good? What wasn't? Because I'm just doing it. I'm just
Right.
doing what I'm supposed to do. And it's just doesn't, I don't think, oh, this was great. If somebody
Mhm.
says so, that's one thing, but I'm like, I'm
Right.
not. I'm kind of the same way. I get that. So it's
Yeah.
hard to do that.
Yeah.
And
And, that translates as well into things that you do, well, this show is so much better, or these people had great ideas, but
mhm.
mine stinks, or so, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just, we do that, and it's not, we shouldn't do
Yes,
that. Yeah, we shouldn't. We're here to support each other. Yeah, we really are.
definitely.
Yeah. So very
And
important.
I mean, what a great group that's out here in this community too, because I just, I
Uh-huh.
don't know.
Very,
It's
most,
taken me a
for the
while to
most
get,
part, very accepting. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. I mean, I've had to, but finding a place to land, I think you used, was that you who used the phrase, or somebody said that they were glad I found a place to land. And
So,
this psychic stuff, I didn't really want to believe in, but I mean, when there's people talking to you from somewhere you can't see them, I used to be able to see them, but I'm okay right now because I had one whispers was in here, and I asked if she could show herself, and she said yes. I said then please don't, but there's a whole bunch of people on YouTube that understand this, and
yeah.
so I'm kind of like, all right, I think I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
go.
Well, Andrea's story was she started out with just her hands. She only showed her hands, and she did the cards with, and then she finally worked up to her whole self. And there's another lady that does the tarot, and I think she's like a psychologist or something. She doesn't want anybody to see her face. The Queen's
Oh
Tarot, I
yeah.
believe, and you could only see her hands. So I
Oh
understand.
yeah.
Yeah, I do. I understand. For me, I've never had a problem with being outgoing and being able to, like I used to be in plays and sing and all that stuff. So that doesn't
Me
bother
too.
me. But there are a lot of people that are very, very gun shy, even, getting up or speaking in front of people. It's terrifying. They'd rather die,
Yeah.
actually. It's like the number one thing
Yeah.
is being afraid. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I always had stage fright. I remember junior year, was it sophomore year of high school, I had to a solo in our musical, and it was like I couldn't get it right until the day of the actual performance. And I remember my teacher yelling at me saying, "You better get this right by the time," because I would keep doing it over. I was singing all that jazz and
Oh,
dancing and all that.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Good for
Oh,
you. So you
I
got it
have the
in you, girl.
recording. I did, but
Yeah.
I get nervous still. And so even before I go on for myself sometimes, but I'm getting better now where I'm not
Mhm.
getting terrified anymore. So
Yeah,
that is
that's
working.
good. That's good.
It is hard to do all this. So
It
if you've
is.
never done it before, so
I agree. Or if you run out of things to say, I usually don't, but if you do, then you don't really know what to do and pull up and bring up and whatever. But most of the time, a show will only last as long as about an hour, and because
right.
people get bored, and I know that from my students, when actually it's 20 minutes for them. And then I have to talk, and then I have to get up and dance a little bit, but I can't do that on Zoom. So, yeah.
No, no,
But
you
anyway,
can't. Oh, but in my meeting today, after we broke from lunch, they had a whole yoga thing. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm like, mute. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing yoga. I was like, I can't even believe
okay,
that we're doing this right now. Oh,
that's
so
funny.
it's
I
great.
worked for the Maine Department of Revenue one time as a temp, and every 20 minutes they made us stand up and dance, like do exercises. And it's okay. I didn't bother me to do it. It's just that after a while it got really infantile.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? Yeah, yeah. I've had
Yeah,
a lot
they
of
they
really
did
good
that
mentors.
today too, and I'm just kind of
Did they?
like, I've been getting up and running around doing things because I have to, and
Mhm,
have to go
mhm.
downstairs. I need to refill my water, and so I'm like, I just got back from filling my water. I didn't need to do the leg stretches and all
Yeah,
that
really.
stuff.
Yeah, you did your
But
exercise.
right, boy, this veered
So
off into something else.
it's okay. That's what riffing is.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, yeah, good.
Just
So if somebody was to say to you, um, hearing voices, I'm feeling crazy. What do you think I should do? What kind of advice might you give somebody like that?
Well, I'd ask
Just,
them first. I mean, are they asking you to hurt yourself or anyone else?
oh, right, right. No, right.
Because if that is the case, definitely go and talk to somebody.
Correct.
Um,
Yes,
you
definitely.
know,
Very good point. Yep.
but that's
Yep.
the only thing I think. I did not
Sure.
have that, except
Hmm.
my fear. I thought I was losing my mind, but I was like, well,
Sure.
but I didn't tell. And the ones I was hearing was saying, because I had a doctor I was going to. It was like,
Mhm.
don't tell them. It was like, don't. And I knew because I'm like, my life is done if I tell this. I was in
Isn't
the
it
middle of my
sad?
career, and
Yeah.
I didn't want to have that on the record.
On the record.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I mean, I've done just fine. I've done very well.
Mm.
So, you know, if there was an issue for that, then I probably wouldn't have done as well as I have,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, work wise and everything else. And,
Sure.
um, I'm still here in one piece. I do deal with anxiety and shyness and,
Mhm.
it's easy, that kind of thing. But I mean, I'm not,
We all
it's
have those.
it
Those.
doesn't,
Yeah.
it doesn't scare me anymore. I'm just kind of like, be quiet. I'm doing
When I
something.
was when I was about 10 years old, a friend of mine and I were coming back from going down to get an ice cream cone at the local place. We're walking up the hill, and all of a sudden a UFO goes over our head,
Oh my
and
gosh.
we could hit. It brought our eyes right up to it. This was in 1966,
That's the year I was
and
born.
was it okay?
Yep.
Good. And I mean, really, up until like this week, nobody ever talked about UFOs because it was classified and people thought
Mhm.
you were crazy. And now there are people that have been abducted and things like that. And
Yes.
it's so sad that people can't come out and talk about that without people looking at them like they're nuts, or,
Right.
that they have guides talk to them or whatever, because there are still a lot of people that really judge that. And I just find that to be so sad because everybody's different, and there has to be more than just this three-dimensional earth that we live on there. That's just crazy. Yeah.
Oh, I definitely think there is, and I've also wondered about whether or not some people that are hearing voices, um, maybe they might be clairaudient, and
True.
that's been in my head because I hear stuff, and I mean, I used to hear this buzzing sound. Every night was like a zzz, like, and I'm like, where is this bug? And I'm like, I don't
Wow.
understand this sound, or I'd be in I remember being in a new apartment or whatever, and they had those long um, blinds, those really long, the ones that were like the strips. I forget what those
The
are called.
plastic. Yeah. Yeah.
I swear I heard them going like clicking
Clink,
and
clink.
clanking around, but I didn't go out to look because I was too scared. So,
Uh-huh.
um,
Uh-huh. I don't blame
I
you.
mean that kind of stuff, and I mean I've just had it forever, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But my dad said once that he looked up with the next door neighbor and they saw a UFO go over our house. And I was like, really? I didn't believe him, but he might have.
My brother saw one in 1948. They were older than me. I wasn't born yet, but and my father made fun of them. But my mother said, and then when I saw one, he made fun of me, and my mother said, "Remember now," because a lot of newspaper articles came out right after that that said
Hmm.
something was flying around, and the Phoenix lights, they're back. They were there in '97, and now they're back again. So, and the pilots are saying, "Oh yeah, we see them all the time. We see them every day." It's like,
Wow.
okay. And yet people still, but anyway, we already know that people only believe those things that they want to believe. So, but it is fascinating. It is
Yeah,
fascinating.
it's very possible now. I mean, now that all this stuff is coming out and we can see it, I mean,
Hmm.
that really says something, I
It
think.
does. It
So,
does. Yep. I think we're
yeah.
all here for a reason right now, and it's all coming through, and it's coming through faster than normal. So,
Yes, it is.
normally I would say it takes a little bit longer, but we're getting some instantaneous stuff. So I certainly wish you well and to
Oh,
continue in
thank
doing
you.
what you're doing, because you're doing so well. And stay confident and know that the
Mm.
people here support you, including myself. And I look forward to all your unfolding of all your gifts. I think it would be
Oh,
fabulous.
thank you. I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate that. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Yes, thanks everyone for coming by. We'll see you again. Have a good one.